So, welcome to Shibari Shamanism. Next in our series of teaching videos is the Peer Rope Copenhagen, which is what you see here. Now, it's very closely resembles the Busara style of Copenhagen with a few small modifications. It is, we call it the Peer Rope Copenhagen because of the 3 teachers who are currently teaching in Peer Rope in Copenhagen. This was the style we could agree on to fit our safety needs and teaching needs. Okay, some details like the 2TK, it means 2 rope Takatakoda. You have to put that in text for the viewers. This means this tie is used using only 2 ropes. Turn around, show the back, look forward. And the main camera, not the zoom camera. It is, in the West we call it a box tie because of this box shape. And with the arms horizontal and the dual set of ropes around the arms. Okay. So, the tie can be used for, it's an all-purpose tie used for suspension, for floor work, everywhere we want to have the arms tied to the upper body. There's very many variations of it, different styles. You can add a third rope for different stability and load bearing. But this is a basic that it's teach and which is the first TK that beginners usually learn. Some points to understand before I show you how to tie it. This I want to cover the basic of why it is as it is. So, orientation of your model, you have 2 muscles on your arm. There's if you squeeze, you will see there's a deeper point and a lower and upper muscle. And we want the ropes to be on the muscles, not in the deepest point, because the deepest point is where there's the most risk of having a nerve, and placing a rope on the nerve so it squeezes is the biggest risk of nerve damage in this tie and in Shibari in general. So we aim for the ropes being placed on the top muscles and the bottom muscles, usually with 2 fingers in between, but wrist size will be the deciding factor. If you have small, you might put the ropes closer. If you have larger, you might need more space, so that you get a usable angle.
On females, it's very common to use the breasts as guidelines.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I didn't cover males, and males also have breasts. And they have breast muscles, so that is what you kind of aim for having below the breast muscles and on the breast muscles on a male. So there the ropes would probably usually be a lot more together. I haven't had much experience tying males, but we have lots of people coming who do it. Okay. Next, if you turn around to the back.
Maybe.
Okay, so on the back, similar to the muscles on the arms, what you are aiming for is that the top rack is beneath the shoulder blades. You don't want these ropes to press in on the shoulder blades. That is a recipe for getting bad shoulders and hurt all the time. It's a tie where you can hurt your body and your model in a lot of different ways. And I've had some who were sad they couldn't do Shibari because one body problem or another. They all turned out that their rigger hadn't learned how to place the ropes right. And I was talking myself with it also at first, how to place the rope right on each individual model. I cannot tell you the exact place for your model, but I can tell you like the muscles, avoid the shoulder blades. That is, in my experience, some of the places that has been causing the most pains and problems, and yeah, that's the starting point. Good. Then we have tension. It's when we use this for suspension. No, let's take it to the side. When we use it for suspension, we tie ropes around here and lift up. That lifting up motion would naturally mean that more load is carried on the lower wrap than the upper wrap. That's why when we tie it, we aim for the upper wrap should be 70% tightness and the lower 30% tightness, which is hard to show, but you can see there's a little give in the top one, but there's more give in the bottom one. So, we will do a little bit more to the camera like that. So there's a little give in the top wrap, but a small give in the bottom wrap. So the purpose of that is simply so when you make a suspension rope and pull up, hopefully it will even out so that you are pulling the same amount in both ropes, both set of ropes. Yeah, for the models, maybe you just explain it.
For models, it's important to hold your hands like this so you can swap your hands like this, back and forth and around. Do not do this lock here where you just because you can, and yeah, it will lock you in the hard, and yeah, when you can't use what this is made for, to be able to move your arms around to relieve one arm. Yeah.
Plus you are tightening when you are locking yourself down there, you are tightening all the muscles all around. Yeah. And the tighter you are tightening everything, the more painful the whole experience will be. You have to be able to relax in the tie and ease into the tie before to allow it to carry you.
Just straight arms.
Yeah.
Or well, you can grab the grab one elbow there, but have this one straight. That's on the outside. Mm-hmm. But the important thing is that you are able to swap them around like this.
Yeah. And you can see, like this is a single column tie, the allows swapping around. As she has her hands here, there is a rope on the most vulnerable side of the hand, of the arm. So you could also move your hands to protect it. So it's above each other instead of outside.
Like this?
Yeah. Without squeezing it, not the finger to lock.
Yeah, without.
Yeah. But that's also a possibility.
That's also, one lock. Maybe you lock it, not.
Yeah. But here you are having your vulnerable pieces of the arms towards each other, so the rope is on solid arm that is more able to endure it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But well, this is meant to be able to relieve that vulnerable position and swap it around.
So different options for it.
Yep.
And now this knot is almost falling apart. Other safety. Okay, this is not a whole safety class, but we have this secret handshake. I give my model a squeeze with the hand, and I want my model to squeeze back with all the fingers. If a nerve is pressed somewhere, it could be here, it could be under the arm, it could be some other place, it will usually, or in many cases, affect the fingers in pairs, so these two or these three become numb. So if I don't get an even squeeze back from the whole hand, then I know a nerve is probably under pressure, and it's safest to untie and do something else.
Or correct it if it's possible.
Yeah, but if you haven't, when you have an uneven squeeze, then it's too late to correct it. Then it does untie.
Okay.
If you feel like something is pressing where it doesn't feel right, then you can ask to be corrected. You can say move a little bit up, and then I can, with a finger like this, always from the front towards the back, move up, or by pushing it the other way, I can move a rope down.
Yes, which is why it's very important for everybody to report what is happening with your body, what you feel.
Because you want this to be correct while you're standing on the ground, because once you're up flying in the air, there's too much pressure on these for the rigger to be able to relieve anything. Then there's only coming down. So much better to have a good starting point than only getting halfway and ruining the fun.
So, complain while he's tying you.
Good. And
Yeah.
the knot down here is also our safety thing. If there is problem with the arms, then we have the other side here, single column tie, knots we can undo. There, there, and there. And now models, you just let your arms fall down. You still have ropes tightening over here. Just by having them down, the elastical muscles should change the pressure point so you get eased from the nerves. If you start moving around on your arms and stressing them, then you're stressing an already damaged nerve. That is just enhancing, making the damage worse. So you want to just relax your arms straight down and give the rigger time to remove the rest.
Don't panic, just straight down.
Yeah. But in most cases, this will be enough that a sleeping hand will start to wake up.
Yeah.
And
In my experience, it's to wake up usually.
And this can be done in the air also, of course, and then you take down afterwards. Yeah. Good. Let's. So. Yeah. Now I will just untie, and then we can resume showing how to tie it. Okay. Then we'll start on the actual tie. Yeah. And now there. Good. Now, Shibari always have these two sides. That is the technical technique, the rope handling, and there is the emotional, how you make it a game with your partner. It's hard to show both at once, So I'll focus on the technicals first, and then I'll comment more on the emotional later. Okay. I'll grab my partner's hands on the inside on one side, on the outside on the other, and I'm prepared for the loop. So when I move the hands around the back, I'm supposed to move them closer to the body, but this stuff so you can see. Then I can go down and grab the rope from the other hand. Now I then put it around. And models, you're helping your Vegas by making sure that they are not close to 100%, totally close to your back, because otherwise it can be difficult to get the ropes through there, especially if it's bare skin or moist and so on.
I heard it's difficult to allow the hands to cut.
Yeah, that is also good. Yeah. You will help each other for the. When you're doing TKs and preparing for suspension, you're making a dance. It's a team game. You're not, even though you're pretending to be dominant or acting dominant, you can't do it without a willing partner that is cooperating with your dance. Okay. Here on the back, you are doing a single column tie. Refer to earlier videos for that. And do a pitch notch coming out for this one, I think. Now, you want the notch on the top, and yeah, then the body has the flexibility as we talked about earlier, moving her hands. Sometimes you want at this point to just help your model to relax and put her arms together, so that when you're tying where the arms would be, and not that you're tying them this far out and then later the model will relax and all the ropes fall down. You kind of want them where the final position is, and that also fits with this rope here. You don't want it to be too loose or too tight. Now it's actually a little bit tight because you got the arm squeezed more. But yeah. Okay. Then orient yourself to your model, feel where's the upper muscles, and then you want to have two ropes on the upper muscle, so you place the first rope in high enough that it has space for a rope more below. Go across the chest, lifting here, same on the other side with the muscle, below the shoulder blades, and here you just cross the other rope and continue below, still on the upper muscles. Go across the chest. Use your fingers to make sure that the ropes are nice and smooth. And then turn a little bit more. Here on the back, you take the rope, you come with here, go under, the rope came up, and you want this starting position where you go up. As you tighten it up here, that is how you get the more tightness on the upper back by both sides here becoming tighter. Then you want to make the X friction. This motion starts, you naturally already have made the first line across, so easy down, and then second line across, straight down behind, and turn around with them, and you have an X friction. This allows me to let the rope relax, and then I need to adjust to make sure that we haven't made skin pinches here. So take a finger under, good hold on the shoulder blade so I can push the shoulder while I move the ropes. I can also check if it became even, the right size, right height, and maybe adjust a little bit more down. And the other side, similarly, there are some hair cords here. Yeah. And that's actually pretty. Yeah, that's. Let's take the color outside this time. Yeah. Good. Okay, let's turn around. On the back you also have this small piece of the armpits to judge by, in addition to the shoulder blades. Now, some styles would then continue to go in front and make a kanuki here, to prevent the ropes from going up. Instead, we are skipping that because the armpits is one of the places where we have lots of nerves, and pressing up there can be one of the reasons why we get nerve damage or just numb arm or all kinds of other problems. So we find it safer to skip it here and add it at a later stage. Now, ideally, make a start rope that ends somewhere around here, so that you can make a knot, an extension here nicely on the back. Now I haven't made start ropes yet, so I'll just continue with this one. Make a downward extension, step forward a bit, yes, and then 2 fingers approximately, or as the best says. Now, here I want to make sure this knot doesn't end up on the arms or any other bad spot. Ideally it would be in an empty space, but now we'll settle with leaving it where it was there. Tying it, otherwise once you have found out where the knots fit and just determined that it's not dangerous, it's as usual, learning for the first time. I'll get into the emotional tying later afterwards. So go back and drop the whole twist there. So on the back, make the rope goes behind the stem. The aesthetics of Shibari is generally that you want the ropes as close to the body as possible, so when you're crossing, a stem usually go towards the body. And here I can show us a bit better. Passing the rope, let's do the emotional. Some other things. Pass the rope across and take it back again. Yes? Okay. Good. So here, again, go as close to the body as possible before I half twist around the stem. Now, the top here was an X friction that they pulled to make it tighter. This one I want looser, and instead we're doing 2 half moons. That is done by going across the stem, behind the 2 ropes. That's a half moon, across the stem, down. That's the second half moon, and around the stem again. Again, exit rope is closest to the body. This friction presses these ropes towards the stem. That's the friction that makes this hold. 2 half moons. Now, that's the second knot done. I can let go of my ropes. And again, like before, hold on to the model, grab the ropes, and just make sure you don't have any skin pinches anywhere. And now that they appear. The same way. Good. Now we then want to make our canopies. That is, go through the armpits, go up, catch the rope. Be careful with not making too much friction, even though it's good ropes, don't want too much friction on the bottom here. Better to lift ropes out with a finger or you do it over the various clothes. But yeah, canopy, it goes on the outside, around the top, and down on the outside again, preventing this rope from going up and strangling her, and this rope from falling down. Keeping both ropes in place at one go, without risking anything in the armpit. Back again on the back, out. Could do a turn around the stem if I want, go back, just go across, behind. And on the other side, again, fish. Through. And you don't want to pull so much that the ropes deform, because that has put more pressure. Instead of evening the pressure out on all the ropes. You're just placing the rope loosely on top. It only have effect if for some reason the ropes want to move. Do it back again, and yeah. And there you go. Go behind the stem again, twist around the stem, and then you're basically done. Now you just need to use up the rest in some way, that also make sure that the rope you just did doesn't fall off by itself. Simplest is looping it a bit more around place. And go, if that's a lot, go to the other side, behind them, to make it prettiest as possible, and do it here also. Again, if I had a start rope, and now when I finish, I just press the ends through to kind of hold it. Done. If I had a start rope that was shorter to avoid the knots here, then I would also have less at the end here back. We should make, we have some other ropes, we did some start ropes, perfect start ropes with, but I prefer these thinner ropes. We should do some start ropes with these two. And ideally, so you have all the knots nicely on the back and not along extra.
And the start ropes, you mean cutting out ropes that are perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take a 8 or 10 meter rope and cut it so it just fits your model. After you use the rope for a while, it might stretch a little bit and you need to cut a little bit more. But then you have a start rope that just make all the knots fit perfectly on the back and look nice and professional when people are looking at you.
If you have a stable model.
If you have the same stable model all the time, yeah. Otherwise you end up with lots of start rope. Good. Okay. Let's show how do we then connect this to a suspension rope and use it for suspension. The two main for this one is side suspension and face down suspension, or sitting suspension, so straight up. Let's start with the side suspension first. Move it. Now, you can ask your model if they have a vulnerable arm that they want to protect, and then you put the vulnerable arm up in the air, because with side suspension, the lower arm will carry the whole model's weight. Now I know Nana has a beautiful new tattoo here, so we save this arm a little bit. Put my rope behind both wraps, both set of wraps. Take a little bit out, and if you look at this, it is basically, I think called a Y tie or epsilon tie, but the basic idea is you tie here like it's a single column tie, and I got the rope there, let's do it like this. No, doesn't go back. Take a little bit more in. Yeah. You tie it basically like it's a single column tie, and make a couple of knots, and then put the loop of the long end through the bite, make a twist of the bite, over the loop, and tighten where they meet. That way you have something you can loop your rope through that is not the middle of the rope every time you do it. And also you are doubling, there's not a single rope anywhere here. It's double rope there, double rope there, double ropes here. It's once I have this connected, we have 4 ropes all the way up and down. You will want to distribute weight to as many ropes as possible, so no single breaking one point will cause your model to fall down. Yeah, good. Then now I just need to go to the other side. To move it out here, you do a Vulcan handshake or you're breathing, and press down while you move the rope. And then I can turn a bit more. Yeah. Up to a suspension point, it's we are standing a little bit away from. And like this. Go a little bit tilted. Close it, have to take the set of this. And that, you probably couldn't see them up there, but now you can rest. Yeah, it's safe. And yeah, side suspension basically, or semi-suspension still standing on the floor.
Can lift my feet to demonstrate?
Yeah, but I don't want to do that now. We'll make a separate suspension video at another time with all the suspension line management that's its own top. Just wanted to show the load bearing here, its own top. Just wanted to show the load bearing here. And it does pressure a lot on the opposite arm. And come here, stand up. Yeah. So enough playing there. You'll get some more playing later. Now we are recording a video.
That was a fun thing.
Yeah. when you untie this, it's the same way with the Vulcan handshake to pull the ropes away from the skin and move towards the back.
Okay.
And you untie this. In general, when doing suspension, it's best to learn it in a club, an association, some place where you have teachers to look and spot if what you are doing are correct or if you forgot one of the safety mechanisms. I didn't cover all the safety mechanisms in this one in details. I have to make another video about that.
And there's a separate video about suspension backs.
Yeah. Now I just want to even these out
This
again.
is just to show where you can suspend it
Yeah.
from.
Exactly. This is about learning the 2TK and show about how to use it more later. The second place to suspend from is straight in the back. I'll go to the other side for this. So here we do straight up on one side, straight up on the other side. And then we have this is basically a single column tie again. So we take the short end around the long and push it all together in the middle. You have other styles that keep it open, but come to like this closed style. Oops. Yeah. There. And again, a loop of the long rope through the bight and a twist over the loop and put it together where the ropes meet. It's called the Yuki fix. And again, showing the thing and a little bit. Just showing the thing. And a little bit. And this might be the primary use, but I said now talking, where we have both ropes set of ropes together, and we wanted that because of that there will be most load on the lower wraps, so that's why the lower wraps is slightly looser than the top wraps. Yeah, now you can try to lean forward. Yes. Don't do more than that. You don't need to go horizontal, just like that. You're demonstrating fine.
Yes.
Okay, it's a different point about tightness and safety in this one. Is that you can see when there's load press on like this, it actually pulls the ropes quite a bit away from the body. And that's okay. If you had the ropes so tight that they stayed close to the body, that means that not only do you have a lot of pressure on the fronts to carry the load, you have a huge amount of pressure on the sides squeezing her together. So you can search for the American dead triangle. S&M has excellent articles about and how it affects the model, and the squeezing together can become worse than the load for carrying the body. I think this is just an example for showing this is actually okay. Maybe I want a little bit tighter, but I think this will actually work fully. Yeah. And then you can do something on the legs and up in the air, nice face down. And yeah. Yeah. Good. Walk forward again. Okay. Forward.
And do not do this if you do not know how to do a suspension.
Now, you look practice the 2TK, you can just lift your model a little bit, lie her on the bottom, on the floor, and play with lifting her up with her own strength, but gently lowering her so you don't crash the face into the floor. Just getting a feel for how is it to be in the tie, that your body, your palm, they can report, oh, it's squeezing a bit more on the sides before you pull it up. It's an excellent way of learning and figuring out how should the ropes be before you go full blast with suspending in the air. And as I said, best to do that in a place where you have somebody to look after you, monitor you, and make sure you have remembered all the safety rules.
But yeah, do like the deadlift in the positions where you're supposed to suspend from with your own strength. If you're strong enough to carry your model like this.
Yeah, that's we have some lovely small ladies and a tiny big men, yes. So,
yeah.
Okay, I think we have covered most, except the emotional time. Yeah. I was wondering if I can do just an emotion on time, but yeah, let's be on time, and then we'll show it with emotions. And when I show it with emotions, then it will be more difficult to see the pattern on time because I will be closer to the model. Yeah. But if you have that on time, you can definitely do it with emotions also. Yes. So when you know what you're doing in your ropes, then you can have time to press them up while fixing the ropes. Let me see if I do. This is the one. Good. Lot of play also. Maybe. When I'm sitting on the floor, I would very often like push forward, show my dominance, do the untying of the knot with big, smooth arm movements, always keeping the tension straight, and then pull back and back to the ropes in front. Yeah, and then push forward. Look at the ropes and the knot. Pull back and let's have it. Push forward. The ropes are separate here. So like untying is just as important as the tying is all part of your game. You show your dominance, your control in the whole process. You don't just let the ropes fall down. You keep them under tension so that you are controlling what your model feels on side. Maybe give a little extra squeeze. And yeah. And then untying the hands, they're probably tired, and pull down and tighten the knot. I usually just lift them up a little bit to ease the ropes, because then it's easier to untie the knot and there's less tension on them. If I can see what is up and down of this knot, yes, that was. And there. And I usually just let the rope up. It's not the rope that's important. Now I want to just take her hands and hold her hands close to the body up to the waist. There we go. That's the end of a good session like that. Yeah. So that was untying with emotion. That was your tying with emotion. So now I will be a lot closer, so you might not be able to see the pattern anymore, but you can also go around and see the pattern. What I want to show is emotions. So again, prepare and let's pull it down a little bit. See if my model is ready to play with me a little bit forward. So close to the body. Yeah. There. Now she's helping me pull it out slowly. Yeah. There. There. Pull your ropes around your models. Yeah, where you need. Model feeling. Tying them. The rope is your hands is the rope. You're embracing them with your hands. using it, the ropes. Tying emotionally might be a bit more messy. This also. It ends being my first because I'm exiting of my first rope. So this is just mirrored of the first time. Yes. Oh, that was that time lesson. Thank you for watching, and hope you will enjoy repeating this with your partner. Remember, first several times is practice, but then add more and more emotion in it as you become ready for it, and yeah, and figure out where. I was going to say until you can do as I did here, but you have to find out your own goal or how you want to do it. So for your level of emotion and interaction, it might be less often what I do, but loving in another way. You'll find out what is you once you have mastered the basic technique of the tying, and then you add which emotions do you feel when tying it. We have exercise also tied to music, that one of the other teachers very fond of, and other such things, so you can feel tying the same technique in different moods and see how it changes your tying. Sometimes you get more tight, sometimes you get more loose, sometimes you caress more or less. Yeah, that's the emotional side of it. Now first practice the pattern as shown. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
I want to take you home with me. Push you down, tie you up and make you beg for it. Show you pain, that sweet, sweet pain. Caress your body while you show. Trust me, you beg for more. In the shadows of your nightmares, I will make you come. Your fantasy will be you free.